Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 76 of Cutscene Combos. We've got an absolute monster of an episode this week. We've got a character profile on War Machine, or is it? Secret Invasion finale, the Barbie review from me. Hori's not been sick because he hates fun and women.
Whoa!
We're going to be talking about San
slander.
Diego Comic-Con 2023. The Nerd News Network, of course, has got a lot to deliver on, and our Cartoon Championship. Yeah,
Cartoon
Championship.
Excuse me.
Cartoon Championship this week. Bad Batch versus 90 Spiderman.
You struggled with that at the
I
end.
butchered that. Butchered that.
And
this is how you know we do it all in one take.
That's payback for slander at the beginning.
But before we get into all that good stuff, Horizontal, how's your week been?
How has my week been? I feel like I say this every week. I honestly have no concept of time anymore.
More and more recently, you've been giving me proper NPC energy. It is fully like once I stopped looking at you, you just despawn for the week and then reappear.
I'm literally like I'm just stood like an NPC in a room, just waiting for that character to come back through. No, I've been working, got news side editing gig with the guy that I used to edit for. So I'm back doing stuff for him. What else went down? I feel like that's kind of been my week. I've been busy doing that. Mostly, I've had a lot of family stuff going on. Just all elderly people in my family and different things, and parents having to deal with a lot. Cars going into the garage for MOTs and stuff. Like, it's just been.
Oh, it's MOT season.
Yeah, and that plus like so much going on with my parents having to like go to deal with different family members and stuff. Like, it's just a lot happening, and I'm just like just gonna sit in my room and play games and just vibe, just keep as chill as and not cause any excess drama going on. But yeah, when I'm doing a bit of work, and then just chilling, playing Apex. Again, that's kind of been the play at the moment. Or Battle Bit, still on the Battle Bit. I mean, we played some Valorant, which was an interesting evening.
I'm so close to uninstalling.
Wait, I'm telling you, we just need to all get Battle Bit. Like, the games are 127 versus 127. They're pure chaos. There's vehicles. There's VoIP. So it's just like,
oh yeah, that sounds like a great thing to do on stream.
It's trust. It's worth. But yeah, Valorant's been rough. I mean, we just were talking before stream.
I don't know what's going on.
That we're gonna watch VCT, and you know what's gonna happen? We're gonna watch VCT, and then
we'll fully get the bug.
All gonna want to play Valorant and think we are the next pro team.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening because at the end of the last episode, like I was playing the best Valorant I've ever played. I went from like Silver 3 to Gold 3 in literally like 2 weeks, which is like 4 sessions of actually gaming. Because we were just cooking, and I felt like I couldn't miss. I was improving so much, and now we've come into this new episode, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Welcome to Riot Games.
I don't know. I can only assume a lot of the player base comes back at the beginning of a new episode.
Yeah, they do.
Because that's when a lot of big changes happen, and as a result, they've been away for ages. The ranks are fucked. So you got like there was someone last night in our lobby who had an Ascendant gun buddy from like episode 5. They were down at like gold now, and like we're like, oh, they've just like reverse boosted so they can play with their friends. But it is possible they just haven't played the game in ages. They've come back in, been put in gold for whatever reason.
Well, yeah, just got smoked in their placements.
And they are still really good because you don't lose being good.
Yeah, it's been rough.
But anyway, fun and games.
How's your week been?
How has my week been?
Isn't it?
What did I do last Saturday? Last Saturday I went to a birthday party. That was okay, but it was outside and the weather was horrible, so it kind of ruined it a little bit. Which sucked. And it was like a 4 hour round trip driving, which meant I couldn't have a drink.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's what it is. Sunday was Barbenheimer Day, and it might be like me. I'm such a fucking loser for going to the cinema anyway. I like to think I don't get stupidly excited over things, but like I'm like a dog when someone says you want to go to the cinema. I'm like cinema.
Yeah,
I
popcorn.
love it. Yeah, 100%. I had 2 large popcorns. We had a Nando's in between.
Oh my god.
And it was one of my favourite ever days spent at the cinema. It was so good. I'm so glad that me and Jenna sprung for the extra to go watch Oppenheimer in IMAX as well. Definitely worth it.
See, that's what I kind of want to do. I'd have to go to Manchester for an IMAX. Which is like, is it worth the drive though?
Imagine being in the third world country that is the north of England.
Where there's only an IMAX every one city.
And then this week it's just been work. It's been busy, it's been chaotic. And then this weekend it's anniversary dinner, and then off to spread my grandfather's ashes on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
another. It's just there's this time of year where shit seems to go wrong for me and Jenna and our families. So it's just like we have a very condensed 3 weeks of happy and weird and confusing.
Yeah.
So it's easier to just try and not have emotions for a couple of weeks. We see how it goes.
Well, as men, we're good at that.
Yeah, just absolutely head down, power through. Yeah, we're good. Should we get into it?
I think we should, as it is a busy one.
This week, I was really hoping that Secret Invasion was gonna hand me a character profile. I was like, for the love of God, I do not have the capacity to think of someone who we should do a character profile on, which happens from time to time. And then I realised the main talking point on the internet after the episode has been Rhodey / War Machine. So that is who we are doing our character profile on.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so let's not waste any time. Let's not edge you, and let's get straight into it. I don't know why I said that. I didn't like that.
No.
We're just moving swiftly on. War Machine, aka James Rupert Rhodes. First appeared as James Rhodes in Iron Man number 118 in October 1978. First appeared as Iron Man in Iron Man number 170 in February 1983. First appeared as War Machine in Avengers West Coast number 94 in March 1993. So he was around for 15 years before he became War Machine.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Philadelphia, he suffered brilliant English. He suffered horrific racist abuse, as well as being targeted by local gangs for focusing on his studies instead of gangbanging with them. However, he avoided all the pressure to join gangs and fight back, and instead knuckled down, got good grades, and joined the US Marine Corps, where he was stationed overseas as a pilot.
Okay.
While on a mission, he was shot out of the sky, where he crash landed in the path of Tony Stark, who was in the middle of escaping from his captors in his original armor. They worked together to fight their way through the jungle, steal a helicopter, and escape. Upon arrival back in the US, Stark offered Rhodey a job, a promise of a job once he was finished with his active service. Rhodey declined. After a number of years and other jobs, Rhodey accepted Stark's long-standing offer and became his personal pilot and chief aviation engineer, while also aiding Tony's efforts as Iron Man in any way he could. Because obviously, although in the MCU everyone knew that Tony Stark was Iron Man, that is not how it worked in the comics. So he was one of the few people who Tony trusted with his identity. When Tony began abusing alcohol, Rhodey took over the mantle of Iron Man and maintained the role even as they moved from New York to California. So essentially what happened was Obadiah Stane tricked Tony into giving him Stark
Industries.
Enterprises.
Okay.
Stark Industry, sorry. So he then moved to the West Coast and started a small electronics company with Rhodey.
Right.
And while they were out there, Rhodey joined the West Coast Avengers.
Right. Okay.
However, Rhodey began to suffer from severe headaches due to the Iron Man armor not being calibrated properly to his brainwaves. This, over time, caused him to act dangerously and irrationally after prolonged usage of the armor and more frequent use of the armor, and it began making him quite paranoid also. This ended with Tony building a more basic suit to stop Rhodey so that Rhodey could go off and sort his issues. He went on like a kind of spiritual journey, found a kind of magician, ancient healer kind of thing to help him resolve his issues. However, not long after Rhodey kind of resolved his issues, Tony was assassinated. And Rhodey was named as the new CEO of Stark Enterprises, Tony's newest company. And once again took over as Iron Man.
Right.
However, he was using a new special armor that Tony developed shortly before he died, the War Machine armor.
Right.
However, Tony wasn't really dead.
Classic.
Someone had tried to kill him, and he'd been badly hurt, and he told like 3 people, and they all told the world he was dead. But Rhodey wasn't included in the people who knew.
Oh.
So when it became apparent Tony wasn't actually dead, Rhodey resigned as the CEO, took his War Machine armor, and went off to operate as War Machine, and severed all ties with Tony. Over the years, they've recovered some of their relationship, but it has never been as close as it once was after that betrayal. And of course, ever since, he has operated as the one and only War Machine.
Interesting. You can see some correlation.
There's definitely some similarities between
MCU.
What we've seen in the MCU. I think most of the changes, as is what I think we can say pretty confidently about a lot of the early MCU stuff, especially, a lot of the changes were good changes. So I don't think we can complain too much, but it is always interesting to see the different path people go on.
Yeah.
The fact that Rhodey was initially kind of, they were trying to make him a legacy character for Iron Man, essentially what Ironheart eventually became. But they could never quite get Rhodey to stick as Iron Man for whatever reason. So he ended up becoming a character in his own right.
Well,
should we talk about the Secret Invasion finale?
I think we should.
I've got a feeling, I don't know how you feel, I've got a feeling that this episode could get very anti-Disney quite quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if I would probably get as harsh as maybe you might, but
I'm going to start with my criticisms, and then we'll get into the bits that I liked.
Okay.
These criticisms are just to the finale. Up until the finale, this show has been spectacular. Problem 1. On Disney Plus, this episode was 37 minutes long. That's too short. I checked. In the first 5 minutes, you only get about 30 seconds of actual show, and that is all just Fury on the phone to his wife. Adds nothing. And then you've got 5 minutes credits at the end. That's 10 minutes out of the 37 minutes. You've got 27 minutes of actual show. Even if they had the full 37 minutes, I think they would have run into the issue we were concerned about pacing in the finale. They really suffered from it.
It honestly felt so fast. And like felt like events happened quick. But like some events happened quicker than others. It was very weird pacing. Like some things worked fine. There was like, okay, that felt fine. But then it's like at that we lost, like they kind of sacrificed other things and sped up other things, and it's like I don't get. I mean, my one thought is like I feel like it was a budget thing for this finale because of how
The
much.
show had $212 million budget.
Yeah, and it's all
That
gone
is
in Bob
not a good
Iger's
enough
pocket.
excuse.
I'm not saying it's a good excuse, but I do think a budget and time constraint because of VFX has caused an issue.
Time constraints potentially. They're $212 million. You can get 2 Oppenheimers for that. I don't want it. It's not a valid excuse.
Unless you're Disney, because 50% of that's going in Bob Iger's pocket.
It's.
But yeah, pacing was an issue for sure.
The CGI throughout the show has been very good. It has. Until this episode. There were some bits in that final battle that felt akin to what we fucking saw in The Flash. It was god awful. Drax's arm, where Gaia's like showing off all her powers, dreadful.
So, yeah, okay. So here's my thought. It's not. I wouldn't say it was dreadful. I think the VFX quality was still there. I think the issue it had was Drax's arm is one of them. They hit Uncanny Valley too often because of what they were trying to do with like the different body parts. And Drax's arm was one because it was like it proportionally just didn't work with Gaia's body, like her physique. And it's like things like that, although the effect of it changing looked great, looked amazing, good up there, just the choice of doing that, it just looked there was too many instances of different body parts looked weird in Uncanny Valley, which I think 100%. Is why it then felt worse in this finale than other times.
But here's the thing, it's all well and good to sit here and go, oh, but the CGI itself wasn't bad, it's just Uncanny Valley. But Uncanny Valley is a problem.
Oh, no, it's definitely a problem.
And someone should go, this is a bit Uncanny Valley, maybe we need to find a different way of doing this.
There was also like, so staying on that fight, I feel like there was wasted money in some choices. Because like at the end of the day, every VFX shot in that fight sequence is expensive. There is one where Garrix kicks Gaia and they make him have a Hulk leg. And it's like, okay, you've done that for the kind of just the joke of him having a Hulk leg, or like matching it with the way he kicks.
I guess the logic was they have all these powers. We need to show the viewer what power they're using in that moment. And I get that to an extent. I do. However, it looks like shit. So run it back, find a different way to do it. The other big issue I have, huge, ginormous issue. I promise you, when they were filming that final battle, the actor who plays Gravix and Emilia Clarke were not on set ever at the same time when they were doing that final battle. Because after the superpowers, when they power up the reactor, Gravix is in scroll form for the rest of the episode, and that is because the actor isn't there after that at all.
Probably it was probably a stunt.
And I think that makes it even weirder when you have one person in like scroll form and then they're getting their appendages. That's one thing, and then you've got just Emilia Clarke.
I do think that was it. I think the reason Emilia Clarke looked more Uncanny Valley is because you were getting the mix of human with weird alien body parts. Gravix worked better because one, his stature's bigger anyway, and then it's like, okay, we're watching an alien transform into other alien parts. Like, it's not that weird. It was weird. I think they could have, like, they tried to show, like, they doubled up on, like, Gravix did like a Korg rock arm, and then Emilia Clarke also did, Gaia also did that. And it's like, well, why not give, like, Gaia make use of powers that look, like, play into, she used some powers that Gravix didn't, like the ghost abilities and Mantis, because
Mm-hmm.
I think in a way showing that Gravix just knows how to use pure strength, and Gaia has a bit more like
Nous.
nous about her. They could have lent into that more, and it still showcases the full range of all the powers that they've got. We know they both have the same set. It's just like we then see a more range of like how they're used, and I think we would have got less uncanny valley.
Yeah, but there is also another gaping issue I have with the final battle.
Go on.
Choreography shit. In fact, it's not even shit. It's non-existent. There was something I learned a very long time ago when it comes to action sequences, because like it took for so long I couldn't work out why I liked certain ones and not other ones, and then I realized what it was. It's the hard cuts. If you watch a John Wick, Netflix's Daredevil, a lot of the Star Wars stuff, or a lot of the really good Star Wars stuff, there's not many cuts. They've got these long shots that show you a lot, which is why like that Daredevil hallway scene is so iconic. This like, do you actually see like more than 3 punches land?
So
because it's just cutting so much, you just get this flurry of color and shit, and you don't really get to see anything.
From like so I've watched a lot of Corridor Digital stunt actors react, and they always say when there's a lot of cuts, it's because they're hiding stuff or they don't have enough footage. Also, a big issue is like flipping which way round people are. And if it's not done in like an actual, like you see the change, it's jarring. And a lot of fast cuts, like you say, a lot of like short moments, which I think all comes down to, again, they were trying to showcase powers, but obviously like it costs a lot to do like a long CG shot. So they're gonna do it as like short little cut things. The fight choreography was weird because they're obviously trying to show off, well, we've got to do a lot of like weird one-arm punches to show off an arm or a kick, or like these weird angles where like you can see the body part change. It was all very like it almost felt too much like less about the fight. It was just Marvel trying to be like, look at all these heroes that you recognize them. Like it just was like a weird bingo card of like, how many things can we show?
And this is where you get into then the story issue. Forgetting like how it looked and how it felt to view. This is like legitimate like universe lore story issues. Show me any of the heroes that powers they use that didn't have some kind of learning curve. Both of these two people just instantly understand all of their powers.
Yeah, that was weird. Like the only time that it didn't feel like that is when Gaia ghost phased almost by accident. It felt with the vehicle coming out. I was like, oh, she kind of just accidentally did that. But then there's like Gravix has the telekinesis guy. You just get, which again, apparently that race telekinesis is in their DNA apparently. And he just was like got a singular arm and he can just do it, and it's like,
well,
okay,
that's the thing with the Drax arm as well. Are they not tattoos? How does she have his tattoos?
there's a lot of questionable stuff, and now also in this like them learning it, I saw a lot of people, so this is where I disagree with what the public are saying. Is like everyone's like, where was Ghost in Endgame? Where was this? Like these people weren't in Endgame. I think people have misunderstood the harvest. Because
I think the problem is Fury said in the Battle for Earth, which everyone took to mean.
Well, yeah, that's when he talked about like Carol Danvers and stuff. But like,
yeah,
he also mentioned that like it was an initiative to collect all superheroes' blood. And I think people have got so hooked up on the end game is where they got it from. But it's like, no, Fury's been collecting this from everywhere.
Yeah.
So like,
that's not the issue I have. The issue I have is you create this person who, based on the skill they've shown to use all these abilities already and the powers you've given them,
now.
Who's even getting close to her?
Yeah, this is because in the comics, right, Super Skrulls have like one power to match the person they're replacing.
Yes.
Like, she can literally be every single superhero. Unless the only way she's getting beaten is by someone we haven't met yet because she can't have their powers.
But even then, she's got fucking Thor, Hulk, Carol Danvers. Who the fuck else do you need other than them three? Let's be honest.
The only thing that I could think could maybe stop her would be like a celestial.
Yes.
And I'm like,
do they care?
Are they gonna come back to Earth again? Probably
do they
not.
care enough?
We stopped them once. Yeah, I think their way of dealing with that now is she's gonna just disappear and only show up on rare occasions because they know they've created like this. It's the reason that Captain Marvel, like, we only got her revealed before Endgame, because if they did it, if she just showed up and they didn't explain where she'd gone, everyone would have been like, wait, so there's this super powerful fucking person that hasn't been able to help Earth this whole time? Now we've got this, everyone's going to be like, if there's an issue, it's like, why not get Gaia?
Why are we risking the 16-year-old boy who can stick to walls?
Yeah, why not call Gaia? Like, why do we need this?
Yeah. Why are we asking the Wakandan teenager who has some really cool technology? Why are we asking the poor girl from Chicago who's built bootleg Iron Man armor? Why are we asking the veteran who got given a shield and has no superpowers whatsoever but has some wings?
That's the other thing. Everyone's like, so another kind of leans into this, just feels like them trying to hit a bingo card of like as many heroes as they could. The way they were listed off was so inconsistent, because we got like 4 Odinson, so we know which one it is, but then you get like Captain America, and it's like, well, is that Steve Rogers or is that Anthony Mackie's Captain America? Because then that's kind of useless, his blood. Like Black Panther, I mean, that's again could be technically anyone because Black Panther's passed around.
But we also know that T'Challa had like a very bad illness right there. Have they just given her? And yeah, and then there's the other thing of just like the old adage of maybe the reason that aliens and humans won't ever interact is we might have a bacteria that to us we don't even notice, but to an alien species would wipe them out in about 3 minutes. I never want to be that guy who sits here and goes, oh, OP character dumb, or why they make girl powerful. But there is some big fucking plot holes here.
Well,
it's just not going to add up, and they've made more problems.
OP characters are fine, but like this is past OP to the point where like you've just put yourself in a corner now of like everyone, whether like it makes sense or not. It's like everyone's just going to be like, why is anyone else dealing with? So they're gonna end up coming up with some reason that like Gaia leaves Earth. I guarantee it, because or like they're gonna kill her somehow.
Yeah. Do you know what I would have rather them done? A lot of this show stays the same. You make Gravix a good guy.
Okay.
And you make it a small rebellion that they're trying to stomp out early. And make it a lot more spy based of who's who can we actually trust, not actually rebels and actually Fury's team. And then at the end, Gravix starts to agree with the rebels. He kills Fury, takes his place, and then we spend the next 3 phases wondering, shit, have they been replaced? Have they been replaced? And that is the actual invasion part of it. We go into this expecting this to be the invasion, but actually, this is Fury stomping out the start of a rebellion. And actually, that spirals into a bigger one. So we're left with Gravix taking Fury's role, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. That would have been better.
Yeah, I think you're right. If they'd ended it in a way that, like, do you know what you could have done? You could have had like none of the Rhodey reveal yet, and like ended with like a list of superheroes being shown of like who they're trying to replace, and then we only know that Rhodey's been replaced, and then like that's how it ends. It's like, well, shit, we know Rhodey's a Skrull now. Who the fuck else is a Skrull? Do you know? almost what I think they were trying to do, that to like hint at, we still don't know who is a Skrull, and now they're going to be in hiding. The weirdest fuck final like little scene when Gaia had met up with Olivia Colman's character Sonya had recruited, and then there's like a weird random clip that's not explained. There's no like explanation to what it is, what it means, what it like, why it says that. She shows her that room of just beds with people in the pods.
So
and
my understanding of that,
it's people that have been changed.
Sonya has done what Fury did back in the 90s, and she's got her team of Skrulls who are out there getting info for her.
Oh, see, no, I took that as Gaia knew that existed, because obviously, like, there were few in the pods. Like, there's got to be more than just like we saw like only a few in pods. I think that's because like we know there's 1 million Skrulls on the planet. Like, that's all the people that have been replaced, and Gaia's showing that to Sonya, and Sonya's like, "Oh shit, how do we deal with this?" But do you know what? Like, I feel well. The thing is, it's like we saw that clip in the trailers, so it was like kind of led to believe that that's going to be something that's like an important factor in things. We then only get
season 2.
We get shown it at the end. Do you know what I think that was? That was a shot idea they wanted, got VFX and everything done for it. Then in the post-production, they've shifted things around and it didn't get used, but they were like, well, we've already paid for the VFX on this, like we need to use it. So they've just shoved it in at the end. It felt like such a random time to give us, like, show us that.
It was so weird.
Which goes into the pacing issue.
Yeah, and it's annoying because the first 5 episodes were so damn good.
They were. And we said this last week.
The finale has left a bad taste in my mouth. I thought it was going to feel rushed. I didn't expect it to make me feel as let down as I currently do.
Because this is the thing, like, we've talked about the fight. The fight felt so fucking fast. Like, it felt like just a rush through of show as many different superhero body parts as we can. Fight's over. Now we're back to... let's show more of the Fury shit that's going on.
Yeah.
Which felt like a more drawn out, like, fight scene scenario. The whole thing of Fury trying to get to the president felt like good pace of how that, like, those events, whereas the fight felt rushed as fuck. It's just, we said it last week, we were worried about pacing, and it again feels like if this had to be the last episode, why not just make it a longer fucking episode? Like, the first episode was a decent length. Like,
yeah, why? I don't get it. The episodes got shorter every week. You're wasting 10 minutes of it anyway. Like, this is the thing we always used to moan about TV shows on actual TV.
Yeah.
Like, you used to have a show that would take an hour time slot, and then it'd come to Netflix and it'd be a 40-minute episode. And you're like, wow, they really just wasted 20 minutes on adverts and intros and everything.
Yep.
And now they're doing it on streaming services. You're advertising a 37-minute episode, but it's actually only 27 minutes.
Yeah, but
the fuck?
Wow, it's so wild. There was some good things in the finale, though.
Yeah, no, there was absolutely, but
like I did. Go
on. Before I started watching it last night, that episode was on 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. That episode.
Oh yeah, I've heard about the Rotten Tomatoes.
Secret Invasion. We should create a Rotten Tomatoes account that me and you do. How do you see the individual episodes?
No idea.
Fact find out. The entire show
has not done very well at all.
Average audience score is 60%. Average tomato meter is 56%. So that's the critics one.
Critiques.
I think for the entire show, that is very unfair.
Yes, I think for the whole show it should be higher than that. I
Yes,
do agree though that the finale has severely let it down.
but it's that finale is the worst ever episode for a Disney Plus show. Does that really feel fair?
Mm. The thing is, like, the finale had some. There was some things that I did. Like, I liked how they did the Fury switch, like the double Fury. Like the theory that I'd played with ages ago that I'd heard, but it wasn't quite how people were predicting. But like, I liked that we got Gaia faked being Fury, and actually, I would say the way they did that, like Gaia faked Fury very well, and the little monologues and moments we got to hear about Gravix and stuff. The reveal of her being Fury, I was like, oh shit, okay. And I liked the Sonya play with Rhodey and how they outed Rhodey. I thought that was good. It just felt like the biggest issue was the rush and the fight scene. And I mean, do we want to get into the Rhodey issues? Or the what people are jumping to
Okay, so let's talk about this. So as he's come out of the
pod.
stasis chamber, we'll call it,
Yeah.
pod, whatever, he's not had use of his legs,
And he's in a hospital gown.
and he's in a hospital gown. So a lot of people have instantly jumped to assuming that he's not been Rhodey since Civil War,
Because that's the last time we saw him in a hospital gown.
Yeah. Which people have a lot of issues with, which we'll get into in a second.
I don't
But
think that's the case.
it's not been officially stated it's been Civil War.
I don't think
I
it's the
said
case.
it'd be a really cool thing for it to be Civil War.
You did. And I said I reckon it'll be more like Endgame during the blip.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure in Infinity War,
Yeah, or Infinity War.
we see him wearing the braces still.
Yeah. If you actually,
I'm willing to say that's still Rhodey.
so here's my thing. Everyone jumped to the thing of like, oh, he can't walk, he's in a hospital gown, like it's right after he lost the ability to walk. No. And then people
braces.
Yeah, he has braces so he can walk. And if you actually pay attention, he even has them braces on at Tony's funeral. So like this idea that he would probably go in for checkups on his spine, he's gonna like see if they can do anything. Like if he's in a hospital gown, means he's had his braces taken off. So yeah, he's gonna go back to not being able to walk. Like it could be any moment that he's gone to the hospital for anything.
I do see the logical jump there though.
I
But
do.
at the end of the day, I did say at the beginning, Rhodey never seemed like a political character. Yet after Civil War, he was increasingly becoming more and more political. So I'm wondering if it was since Civil War. Now, here's the issue that people have got, which I think does make sense. That's a lot of unpacking and catching up for this character to do in Armor Wars.
Yeah.
Well, especially when he's just supposed to be like a co-star alongside Riri Williams' character and dealing with Tony's stolen tech and Justin Hammer.
I also like. I get that people are like, oh my god, it'd be so like it'd be such an interesting plot thing if he's having to deal with the fact that like he didn't see his like best friend die and stuff, and it's like that. I get it. It just the way that they've done those films and the way the character was in those films. Yes, he slowly got more political, but not to this level. And it's like there's moments like in Endgame, like he was the first one to Tony's side, and it's like there's so many things that like it's so hard to believe that that would be a Skrull, and it's like quite clearly was never written that like it was filmed and written in a way that like he is not a Skrull in those moments, and it's like if you wanted to do in my opinion, if this is how they wanted to do it, and they do want it to be like since Civil War, they should have planned that way fucking sooner and actually like subtly made sure that it makes sense. Because it's like what we said before Secret Invasion comes out. They'd be like, "Oh, it'd be sick if they make a reveal," and we go back and we go, "Oh my god, there was things there this whole time."
Yeah.
Now it just
Right
feels
now,
like
we should.
we've gone back and we're like, "But it makes no sense. Like, there's nothing here showing that this is a scroll.
Yeah.
This feels wrong."
Right now, we should have 1,000,001 TikTok edits of the period of time we know that person's a scroll, and we're all sitting here going, "Oh my god, it was right in front of us the entire
Yeah.
time."
But instead, we've got people going, "A scroll
And
wouldn't do that."
if that was the case, it would have happened. I'd like to point out, people worked out Fury was a scroll when Talos was him because of the way he was cutting his fucking toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, let's be clear here. If there was real evidence that Rhodey was a scroll for a really, really long time, we would have had that. The more interesting one to me is your man from Black Panther, Martin Freeman's
Yes.
character.
When
Because there's a real chance that we never knew him before he was a scroll. I don't think that's true either, just so we're clear. But they could try and play that off. I don't think he's been a scroll for that long, purely because if he was a scroll and they're trying to take over the world, why would he be calming down the situation in Black Panther 2?
yeah.
Why would he not be egging America on to invade Wakanda and start an all-out war?
True. Now I think he got taken as because he obviously, I think his actual character was starting to realize there was scroll shit going on. So they've taken him as a way to, because they knew people were starting to figure it out. Like the guy in the episode 1 at the beginning, like Gravix knew that people in intelligence were kind of getting aware of shit, so they needed someone they could use to like front.
It feels like a really cool concept's been wasted, and I would
Yes.
love to have seen it the way I wanted it.
Yeah,
Of
I feel
Fury
like
stamping out a small rebellion and accidentally creating a larger issue that he's now not even around to deal with.
yeah, it feels like they've missed the mark with what this could have been. And it's a shame because they could have also done it of like they could have ended it showing like a few scrolls getting powers from the harvest rather than like them both getting all of the powers. Then we would have had a case of like, oh shit, we know someone's got, I don't know, Hulk's powers. Or no, we know someone's got Abomination's powers. So next time we see Abomination, we'd be like, is that actually Abomination?
I would have been down for a little reactor explosion that gave a bunch of scrolls random powers.
Yes. I think that could have been cool.
But this is the way it is now. I don't think it deserves as much hate as it's getting overall. I think it's been a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to the finale.
Do you want to see a wild take I've seen?
Go on.
I've seen people putting this finale above Moon Knight finale.
This finale above Moon Knight?
Yes. Which I think is the wildest take ever. Because I would say although the Moon Knight finale felt rushed as well, it was a lot more like made sense.
This is the epitome of the issue, though. Moon Knight was like, oh, it still wasn't great, but they're moving in the right direction. This is the worst Disney Plus finale.
It's just all over the place.
Let's be completely fucking clear. They've got an A story and a B story. They've got 27 minutes, and they completely fuck it. They could have made it as good as the Moon Knight one if they'd had 40 minutes of actual episode.
Yeah.
Like, I think an extra 13 minutes of actual episode could have made it work. But
yeah, I think a longer episode with a better fight sequence would have made what they were doing work better. I think had it also had a different way that the powers were dealt with, would have been a lot of like better way of ending it.
Yeah. But I think that's all I've got to say on it, and on to the next Marvel thing. When is the next Marvel thing now?
I'm not sure. I will say one thing. Olivia Colman carried that series.
Even in the finale, she was good.
I hope we now get, like, I know she's taken Guy under her wing. I'm hoping that means we're going to see her again in the future with some, like, is she actually, like, going to get revealed as the Union Jack, is it?
Union Jack was who she'd rumored to be playing.
It'd be interesting if maybe we get something down the line where we get more of her as the main character, because I'd love that.
Loki Season 2 is the next Marvel thing it looks like we've got, and that's beginning of October.
Okay.
Anyway.
That'll be interesting.
Barbie. I am a Barbie girl. Hori, I just want to, before we get into this, I just want to say you are Kenneth.
I am Kenneth.
You are Kenneth.
Kenneth. I don't.
Kenneth.
Okay. I don't know what this means.
Okay, so Barbie, as I said, I went to see Barbenheimer.
You did?
I did the Barbenheimer double. I would like to point out.
Did you dress pink?
No, I didn't. I am not that much fun. After the Barbenheimer weekend, although originally it felt like the internet was against my way of doing Barbie and Oppenheimer, as in doing it Barbie Oppenheimer, everyone who went Oppenheimer Barbie went, I wish I'd done it the other way around.
Oh.
So I think I was actually just ahead of the curve. And even afterwards, after we left Oppenheimer at like 10 o'clock on Sunday night, Jenna just went, I'm glad we saw Barbie first. I'm like, you are welcome.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. What I'm hearing from Oppenheimer is like, it was heavy. So,
well, like, I don't know what anyone else expected.
No, well, we knew it, but like, I think people didn't quite grasp how it would make them feel. So, like, the idea of doing Barbie after seemed okay, but I can imagine no one wants to deal with Barbie after that.
So, a lot of people seem to think that Barbie was just going to be 100% fun.
Yeah.
And
apparently it's more serious than it
was going to be just depressing. I knew Barbie was going to have a serious undertone, and I knew Oppenheimer was going to crush my soul.
Well, yeah.
And I did not want to have my soul crushed to then think I'm going into a happy movie and have it destroyed again.
Yeah, fair.
And I think I'm the only one who saw that coming.
Do you know what's great from, like, because obviously you messaged in our little group thing that you got, it was like Barbie time. And I said I'd seen comments on Twitter, like people were like, the best thing of Barbenheimer is seeing people dressed in pink walk out of Oppenheimer with like 1,000-yard stare. And then you messaged me as you were like, was it after you, or when you were going into Barbie, you saw people coming out of Oppenheimer?
When we were getting ready to go into Oppenheimer, we saw people coming out of the previous Oppenheimer showing that had like Barbenheimer t-shirts on and bright pink stuff on, and they just looked
soulless. Honestly.
Greta Gerwig is very, very talented. I've not seen any of her stuff before, but I will say this made me want to go and watch it because it is so damn good. The comedy hits, the visuals hit, the acting performances top to bottom are really, really good. I'm sure that anyone who spent any time on the internet will have seen that a lot of people are calling the film very anti-man.
Yeah,
it's not. This is the first genuinely feminist film I've come out of not feeling attacked.
I think the people that are saying it's anti-man are the men that are the issue.
So in reality, the main thread of the film is unironically, you've got Barbie world, you've got the real world. Barbie starts getting thoughts of existential crisis because a woman in the real world is so powerfully upset and is so inspired by Barbie that her emotions are seeping through into Barbie world.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So then Barbie has to travel to the real world to try and fix this issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Ken, because Ken has no personality other than I love Barbie.
Yeah.
Follows her.
Classic
and Ken feels lost and alone. Yeah. When Ken gets to the real world, he feels instantly validated and seen
Okay.
because it's a man's world.
Yep.
So
Got
he
you.
goes to the school library because she thinks she's looking for a little girl, obviously.
Yeah.
It turns out to be that little girl's mother. And he finds books about the patriarchy.
Ah.
Barbie's like, I don't need your help here anymore, Ken. I need to help this girl solve her issues. So Ken's like, right, I've learnt this great thing. I'm going to go teach it to the other Kens. Obviously, Barbie has no idea that it's the patriarchy. So she just goes, yeah, that sounds great.
You do you.
So Ken goes back to Barbie World and institutes the patriarchy.
Okay.
Now, because Barbie World has never had to deal with the negatives of the patriarchy, essentially no one is prepared for it, which means that all of the Barbies think it's great because they haven't thought about it. And it kind of puts them under like a spell, is the way it's described.
How the patriarchy started.
Yes. So then Barbie and the ladies are running away from Will Smith, who plays the CEO of Mattel. Not Will Smith, Will Ferrell.
I was going to say Will Smith. I was like, wait,
Will
what?
Ferrell.
Okay.
Will Ferrell. Once again, playing an evil toy CEO.
He's got a type.
It's a weird type. Anyway, so they come back in, they see the patriarchy's ruin everything, and they slowly like win it back. Here's the thing: at the end, even though Ken's come very close to essentially destroying Barbie World, it's not a "you're terrible, how dare you try and do this." Barbie realizes that actually none of the Barbies knew where the Kens lived. So all the Barbies lived in their dream house on a road.
Yeah.
And the little girl, or not little girl, she's like a tween, says, "Where do the Kens live?" And she's like, "Oh, I never thought about that." Yeah. So it showed that the Kens were neglected.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, they get like one seat in a position in the Barbie government.
Nice.
And like, obviously the men are like, "Oh, look, they gave them no power." It's like, no, it's literally like the equivalent to what women are dealing with in our world.
Yeah.
But Ryan Gosling's Ken, who caused all the problems in Barbie World, is forgiven. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't even realize." My favorite line. This guy cracked you up.
Okay.
I got bored of the patriarchy once I realized it wasn't about horses. But he felt trapped by it because he'd already started it.
What the fuck?
So when he first found the book had like cowboys on the cover.
Right.
So he thought the patriarchy was about just horses and
being
men.
a cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what
then
we all wanted to be as kids.
Exactly. And he's like, once I realised it wasn't about horses, I didn't want to do it anymore, but it was too late. And then the main bit at the end ends up being about "you are enough." Because like the whole thing is like, and like we saw it in some of the shots, like when they're getting their mugshot taken once they're in the real world. You know, it said Barbie and Ken. So like that actually is like a genuine plot point. He's like, I'm just Ken. You're Barbie and I'm Ken. And she's like, no, you are Ken. It's Barbie and Ken.
Got you.
So basically the entire point is you've got to be like content within yourself and not base your entire existence around something else. Which is a big problem with toxic masculinity, men basing their entire worth off of the women that love them, their families, their jobs, whatever, instead of, being a three-dimensional person.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, I can only talk about what I took away from it as a man. A lot of the stuff is directed towards a woman, as is fucking right. But the film is phenomenal, genuinely phenomenal. The only thing that concerns me is Greta Gerwig, alongside Christopher Nolan, both deserve to be up for Best Director Oscar.
Only one can win.
If Greta Gerwig wins, the internet is going to be vile because they're not going to view it as proper cinema in the same way they view Christopher Nolan, but it fucking is.
Yeah.
I cannot remember going to the cinema and seeing that many groups of women, mothers, and daughters all so happy to be together and going to see a film. Never seen it the way that was that day, and that was actually so nice. But yeah, it's a It is a
I've
everyone can do better. Everyone needs to stop being so hard on themselves, and everyone needs to be more forgiving. It is such a positive film.
yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of good things, and I mean the box office income. It's made money.
Money.
The only like
I think it's had like the second biggest Monday ever.
something like that. The only negative thing I saw about it that seems like a valid negative thing was some complaints that it didn't do enough to talk about the negative effects that Barbie as a brand has had on women. Some people felt like it brought up the points, but it never actually like did anything about addressing them.
So
But I
it
think
brought up the
that's
points definitely, but instead of kind of addressing them, it was kind of like a case of, oh, you've misunderstood what we wanted Barbie to be. Which, of course, when the film has to be greenlit by Mattel,
well,
like
yeah,
put it this way, yes,
yeah.
they could have been more critical. I'm amazed Mattel let as much
Well, yeah.
slide as they did.
That's the thing. I think it's valid that people have that issue with it, but I think those people do need to kind of remember this is a Barbie film. Like
Yeah.
Barbie's only going to let them slander themselves so much.
Mattel took a number of shots to the chin like a champion. Like, you know me, I'm never one to like, what's the word? Give a compliment to a major organization that
Yeah,
makes a fuck
corp.
ton of money. I'm not that kind of guy. I'll give them their dues. They took some shots to the chin like some champs.
I think
Bearing
they
in
had
mind
to
this
in
was
a way.
their film.
Yeah, but I have heard good things.
If you want to have 2 relatively fun hours that will leave you feeling like you've received a message as well, there's worse ways to do it. I want to talk a little bit about some San Diego Comic Con.
Some more nerdy stuff again.
Little San Diego Comic Con.
The con that was almost cancelled because everyone dropped out.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe one year we'll get our own panel and it'll just be me and you screaming about corporate scum for 3 days or whatever. Right, San Diego Comic Con 2023. Woo!
Yes. Definitely more tame than last year.
Yeah, we covered some bits last week from the stuff that come out early. So a lot of this stuff's just stuff that happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
Number one, we got the Boys spin-off show Gen V. We got the trailer for that, and we got a release date for that, which I don't think we had.
No,
so it's coming out September 29th. So you've only got 4 seasons to catch up on, Horry. The trailer looks interesting. So the whole point of Gen V is we're going to the school where they train supes. And like a superhero high school trope is something that exists. What was it the one Disney Channel did? Sky High?
I can't remember.
I think it was Sky High. You're older than me, so it's probably something different for you. So it's like it has that vibe of like, oh look, we're all like relatively young adults with superpowers. This is awesome. Let's be like college kids and go to frat parties and yeah. And then there's just like a really dark undertone that like 30 seconds into a trailer starts to seep in and you're like, oh, this is still a boys' universe where terrible people have superpowers and do terrible things with them.
Yeah, and there's just like a high school, you get the entitled kids that.
Yeah, you've got the people who think they're God's gift because they have superpowers. You've got the people who abuse their powers. You've got the people who genuinely and naively think they're going to be able to do good. The funniest thing about the boys' universe to me is always going to be the right-wing people not understanding that it's parody. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of the left wing don't understand when they're getting the mick taken out of them as well. And this is a fault that both sides definitely share. Like the left wing will focus on the jokes at the right side.
Everyone focused on the opposite side.
On the jokes at the left. Yeah. And very few people manage to see the jokes landing on both sides.
That makes sense.
But I feel like the right are more oblivious.
Oh, definitely.
As someone who is probably about as left-leaning as you can get in person, not on the internet, I like to think I understand a lot of the jokes that are aimed at me. And I can laugh at them. But my God, I'm very excited for it. I'm looking forward to
It looked interesting.
what more it can add.
Until I watched The Boys, it's kind of lost on me a bit.
I think you'll be able to get through a bit of this. The only danger is there might be some spoilers. Yeah.
Is it a spoiler if I don't understand it, though?
Well, that's the thing. Is it going to be that thing because you're shit at remembering really, really minute details? Whereas for me, if I watch stuff out of
order, I'm shit at remembering.
I will remember the most minute details. So I'd like watch a show, remember something from the third season of that show, then watch the prequel show, and then be like, "Oh, that's been fucking spoiled." Whereas I don't think you'll necessarily have that issue unless it's a huge spoiler. So pros and cons.
We'll see.
I mean, the Boys universe just keeps getting bigger. You need to catch up.
I know.
Realistically, I mean, actually, no, bullshit. You can absolutely catch up with The Boys before September 29th, so we can live react to these episodes.
Yeah, I probably
Pull your finger out. Pull your finger. I've taken enough shit from you over the last 2 months.
This is the thing. It's like I can't say anything now because previously I could be like brush it off and be like, yeah, I'll watch it at some point. Now I've made you watch, like pestered you to watch Rebels. I've screwed myself.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fine.
More awesome news. X-Men 97. Their action figures were revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. They are giving nostalgia. They look like really how cool. I remember action figures. Before they had like 12 million little joints so that you could position them so intricately. They are fucking awesome. And this is why I'm never allowed to buy an action figure, because I won't stop.
You'll buy one and need them all.
Can never do. I've already done it with pop figures. I'm not doing it again.
Something that isn't on here but stays with the X-Men stuff. Have you seen the Kith collaboration, the clothing brand Kith?
No.
They've done a collaboration with Marvel and X-Men, and you're going to want to spend money.
Oh, I shouldn't be Googling this, should I?
There's bomber jackets, it's all going to be limited run, but a cool thing they're doing...
How do you spell Kith? Sorry.
Kith.
Oh, TH. Oh, did fucking F.
If you put
Marvel Kith for X. Oh. The 60th anniversary. Oh.
Their stuff is expensive.
I'm not handsome enough to get away with wearing weird shit.
Well, no, you say weird shit. There's some genuine, like, just bomber jackets.
Wait, they have an arcade that's been wrapped. They have an arcade machine.
Oh, yeah, they do, like... It's a bit like similar vibes to Supreme with some stuff they do. Like, and they do random items. But there's some bomber jackets in there that are really sick. Also, they're doing, along with, how do you say the brand? ASCII, the shoes?
Yeah.
Akai, ASCII.
I saw them ones.
So the way that
I'm not a fan of their base trainers.
Well, yeah, neither am I. But a cool thing they're doing for this is you can buy a mystery box. So the same way they want in like the vibe of like if you opened like trading cards, like you don't know what the fuck you're getting. You literally get a box and you don't know which one you'll get. And you open the box and it's in like a foil sealed package, and you've got to open it and you'll find out which X-Men shoe you got. Because there's ones for different people. Which I think is a cool thing for like people who want to do like collector stuff. They're just gonna buy a fuck ton of the mystery boxes and see what shoes they pull.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild. Unboxing video.
Yeah, unboxing video. But the bomber jackets, well, I saw they look sick. There's one for different.
Well, before I went on holiday, I have worn it on the podcast, but it's only got a back design, so you can't see it. I got a massive black oversized tee with a comic front, like a comic cover as the back image, and it's like Venom and Spiderman fight. It's fucking sick. But there's just so few good ones of them you can find.
But I thought that was along with the figurines. It was like very cool vibes. Decent.
Hot take based on the next couple of things that I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm okay if we take a step back from as many live action superhero products and pivot towards animated products.
Agreed. As long as they are of the quality of Spider-Verse and like TMNT, which is going out.
Well, but also just like, I know you haven't seen them, but the DC animated universe movies of the last 10 years are all so damn good. They're not as creative as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Verse, but the actual quality is so good because, as a general rule, animated stuff doesn't make anywhere near as much money. So the dickheads who make bad decisions don't give a fuck because it can't make as much money. So they let genuine, creative, and caring people work on them. With that being said, DC announces 2 animated films for 2024. Watchmen, which could be fucking brutal.
Yeah, it could.
And Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I'm interested to know if these are going to fall under DCU.
They won't.
They're not. You think they're going to be Elseworlds then?
Nope. They are completely separate. Anything that comes out before Superman Legacy is 100% not DCU.
Except for Blue Beetle.
No, that film isn't DCU.
Yeah, I know. It's just, that one's
the character is.
That's the weird grey area.
So yeah, these are just going to be really good. In fact, Crisis on Infinite Earths, I'm really excited for because that's like their big universe original reset crossover.
Right.
So that could be really, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
This is the one I'm most excited for. Invincible Season 2 trailer revealed. Oh my god. Yes. Yes. I've been waiting so long for this fucking thing. So long. I know everyone has. I know it's not just me, but my god, I am so ready. Get me back in there. Do you know what the problem is? Over there somewhere, I've got the first compendium of Invincible.
Oh, to read.
I'm only like maybe a third of the way through at most. Part of me's I'm like, I really want to read it all, but I don't. But because I started with the show, I kind of don't want
to ruin the show
to spoil anything. And here's the thing: they don't follow along perfectly. They hit all the same plot points, but they reshuffle certain things just so it feels fresh still.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think I need to just commit to finishing one of them first.
Yeah.
And then the other one, so it's like 2 separate experiences.
Yeah.
But along with that trailer, we got a fuck ton of voice guests announced.
Okay.
And there is one that is particularly exciting.
Oh.
So there is a very, very popular old Spider-Man show that got cancelled. The Spectacular Spider-Man. The fans of that will fight until they die to bring back in some way. The voice actor for Spider-Man and Peter Parker in that show was Josh Keaton. Josh Keaton's name was on the list of guest stars in Invincible Season 2. There is a very popular and famous comic where Invincible and Spider-Man team up.
Right. That's why I've seen that as like a... I saw something where someone was like, Invincibles is hinting towards
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yes, it's happening. It's 100% fucking happening. No one can convince me otherwise. It might not be Season 2. It might be Season 3.
Right, okay.
But it's fucking happening because apparently all the voice acting for Season 3 is already done.
Right, okay.
It's fucking happening because there is also in the teaser trailer from like 2-3 months ago where he sat in the booth talking to the alien. On his phone, you can see a tiny slither of the comic cover.
Right.
From that comic.
Right. And everyone's like, oh my God.
Everyone's like, okay, this is happening. Everyone was like, oh, that's exciting. And then they saw Josh Keaton's name and they're like, holy fuck, it's happening. And Josh Keaton's the perfect choice to get even more hype behind this because of that Spectacular Spider-Man fan base.
Yeah. Smart play.
I'm so hype. But another thing that I'm mega hype about, but I've been so busy I've not got around to watch yet, is Atom Eve, who is, as everyone who's seen the show will know, a massive part of Invincible, got a 50-minute special which was a spin-off to add more context to the character, that came out as it was announced at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. So there's now a 50-minute special on Prime Video as well about Atom Eve, which I haven't got around to watch yet. All I've heard is phenomenal things. Apparently, it's got some really good action in there. You get to see how powerful Eve really is. And everyone's like, if this is the level like the action and the animation has got to now after the success of the first season, season 2 is going to be phenomenal. Yeah, essentially. Just showing how much they've elevated their animation style and stuff. So I cannot wait. I mean, you know how long I've been waiting for Invincible.
Yeah, you've
this has been the thing that I've been like every 3-4 months. Been like, we've not had an update for a little while. I'm getting worried.
Said anything?
Yeah, I'm so ready for the world of Invincible to come back, and I'm formally setting you this challenge. I said it before.
Yeah, you did say it before we recorded.
I'm calling you out live.
It's fine.
I've got about a season of Rebels left, which is about 24 episodes. I am challenging Hori to watch the 10 episodes of Invincible, 10 or 12, and the Atom Eve spin-off before I watch the rest of Rebels and the Atom Eve special.
Let me have a look. Season 1 total watch time.
It's like, what was it, like 6 hours?
Why is it? Surely someone's.
It's 9 episodes, and they're half an hour each. So you got 4.5 hours.
Okay. Do that in an evening.
Exactly. You could. You're right. Well done.
Do you know what I'm going to end up doing? You're going to be like, right, we're talking about it this Thursday.
I might be lying, actually, with the episodes longer than I remember. Memento.
You just lied on the podcast.
Potentially. It's only 50 minutes right now, but I don't know if that's the Atom Eve special. Episode guide.
Shock and awe.
It's about time, episode 1. Why is it so difficult to get the time stuff? 47 minutes. Okay, so maybe they're 50 minutes each. That's still like less than 9 hours. Zero excuses.
Do you know what's going to happen? It'll be like, well, we're doing it this week. We're talking about it, and I'll do it on I'll just sit down and watch it on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Last minute, I'll just watch it all in one go.
And here's the thing: it's so bingeable. Like I
can imagine
the first episode on a random like Thursday night, and then it was 2:30 in the morning. I was like, shit, I have work in 5 hours.
Classic. Been dealt with that before.
Would it have been school? I can't remember. It would have been school or work. Anyway, you get the idea. So it's gonna be nuts. Bit of a weird, unexpected news thing, which is kind of cool, kind of not. We'll see how it goes. So, Punisher comics essentially got cancelled. And I don't mean cancelled like, oh no, the woke mob has cancelled it again. I mean cancelled as in like no longer on shelves. Because racist and right-wing pieces of shit decided that Frank Castle was the hero, and they didn't realise it was a social commentary on why they're pieces of shit. Once again, people never realise when they're the subject of art. Yeah. So Marvel, like, we're not putting more fuel on this fire. We're stopping Punisher.
They changed the logo, but it didn't help, and then they just pulled it, didn't they?
So now they're restarting with Punisher without Frank Castle.
New character.
It's an ex-Shield agent who's becoming the Punisher. I forget his name. I had it, but I've lost it. My early prediction: he is going to go around killing racists and corrupt police officers. He's not going to do a lot with actual criminals.
Yeah, or it'll be like white Nazis and stuff. Like,
maybe not like his whole thing, but like the first like big arc is just going to be him hunting down corrupt cops and racists. And Marvel are going to try and get that in all the news feeds so that they can go back to telling traditional Punisher stories. And everyone's already like, oh no, this new Punisher's all woke. And when they say woke, they mean doesn't like racists.
He's the Punisher.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Frank Castle would absolutely kill police officers who use the Punisher logo, because Frank Castle was of the opinion the police should be better than me.
Yeah.
I am doing the wrong thing, but someone's got to do it, and I'm putting that burden on my back. The police should strive to be better than me. The police should be trying to stop me.
Oh yeah, he was always of the opinion like he's doing what the like law system is failing at, and they should do
Yes.
better.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah,
we got a Marvel's trailer.
We did get a Marvel's trailer. Explained
cool.
it. Do you know what was weird though about the Marvel's trailer? They dropped it at like
Cool.
2 a.m.
Yeah,
They dropped it at like a really bizarre time to like get it to hit properly.
Yeah.
It showed some more about. It kind of touched on the fact that their powers, something has happened that has then entangled their powers.
Yeah.
And we saw a bit more of them switching back and forth. We know it's about the daughter of the Kree guy.
Yeah. And we also saw a bangle that the villain's using that's similar to...
Very similar to...
Kamala's.
Yeah. So...
I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's going to get hated for zero reason.
Oh.
But actually, no. Let me be clear. Not for zero reason. For...
dumb reasons.
Fuck women and fuck non-white people reasons. That's why it's going to get hated.
And the new thing of, like, MCU fell off.
Yeah. The 4 main characters are Samuel L. Jackson, a black man. Monica Rambeau, I forget the actress's name, a black woman. Brie Larson, a woman, a white woman. And then Kamala Khan, an Asian Muslim woman. There is no way, with the way people openly behave
the villain's
these
a woman.
days, there is no way with the way people openly behave on the internet these days that people are going to actually give that film a chance.
Yeah. It's a shame because it, like you say, it's probably going to be very fun. But yeah, people are going to and then people are going to be like, oh, it's not done well. See, MCU fell off. Haha. It's like, okay, cool.
I think it's going to give superhero road trip vibes, and it's going to be phenomenal. I'm very excited for this.
Well, yeah, you're going to have Carol Danvers is like the one trying to be all serious about everything. You're going to have Monica Rambeau's characters like trying to figure out the science and shit, what's actually break down what's going on. And then you're going to have Kamala Khan who's just like, woo, we're on a road trip, we're in space.
I'm a superhero now, really?
Yeah. And it's just going to be pure
carnage. I can't wait.
Yeah. That was San Diego Comic-Con.
It was, but that's not everything, Corey. There's so much more nerdy news.
There is a lot more news to get through as well.
Aren't ready. Flash digital sales are doing really well, apparently topping most of the charts. I am confusion.
See, I have a fit. I think I understand this. Why? You had, as we've been saying for a while now, we're in a period where people are being careful with their money and not going to the cinema and spending a chunk to go see it.
Yeah, family of 4 to go see the cinema. Yeah.
Flash got roasted for his VFX, and people complained about different things. So then people were less inclined to want to go spend money at the cinema to go see it. But I imagine there is still a portion of people that would have some interest in watching it. See it's come out on digital. It's like £5 to rent it. It's like usually those films are like £4 or £5 to rent for like 30 days. They've probably just rented it. And people are seeing, like, it's that weird thing of like, it's got too much of like a controversial opinions on it. I'm not going to go see it in the cinema. Oh, but it's out on digital now. I'll watch it at home, see what it was all about.
You know what I don't understand? It made 0 money at the cinema. Like, in the grand scheme of films. It has an 83% audience score. As a general rule, I think people on the internet have been too harsh on The Flash. But that audience score tells me people liked it.
Do you know what I also think the digital sales might be? I think it got hurt in cinema because there was a portion of people that will have boycotted that film purely because of Ezra Miller and the whole like thing around it. But there's definitely then people at home are gone, oh, well, I'll rent it at home though. No one knows I've watched it at home.
But like, sorry, so that 83% is the verified ratings.
Okay.
If you go all audience, which is 25,000 plus ratings, it only goes down to 79%.
Well, this is what we said. It's like it wasn't a bad film. It just got rinsed in the unfortunate places. Which, and with the current economic,
yeah, it barely made 100 million in America.
Do you know what I also think hurt Flash? On top of everything else, this Barbenheimer thing has been so hyped. People are just thinking, oh, I'm going to go to cinema. Like, I'd rather just save my money and go watch those films everyone's talking about. Like, well, I'm not fussed about Flash. It's, I mean, probably after it's done with digital, it'll probably get past Green Lantern. So it's got that going for it.
I think the Flash is going to age very well. Hot take. I think people are going to look back on it in 5-6 years and go, "We were a bit harsh. Yeah, the CGI's jank, but it has charm." That'll be what people say.
I think people will go back and they'll be like, "I was the best of the ending to the DCU."
Yeah. But on stuff that we are both like bouncing off the walls,
so excited
about.
for.
Bearing in mind that this film, to our knowledge, didn't really exist like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Like, it really came up quick.
Yeah, it popped up. It did.
So a sequel and an animated series with the same voice actors for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has already been greenlit.
Yes, it has.
And the early critic reviews for it are sitting at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And the world is going crazy for the Turtle Tots.
This film can't miss.
It's going to be great. It really is.
I cannot wait. I'm going to feel like a child watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again. I cannot wait.
Do you know what's great? Like, we talked about, I think it was a couple of weeks back when we were talking about it, and we said, this is going to, like, how we have our era of what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles looks like, the animated one. We said, oh, I'll be sick of the, like, we get a show, and this is going to be like the new kids. The fact that there's an animated series now greenlit, like, there's a whole new generation, like, this is going to be their Turtles.
Yeah.
And it's like, it looks...
And they've been blessed with a goated cast.
Oh, they have. They really have. And it's like, maybe you're going to have Jackie Chan in an animated series again on TV.
Oh, don't. I want them to bring back his animated show.
Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
Collecting talismans.
Did you have the fucking Game Boy game of that?
No, but I had physical talismans.
No, I had the game where you had to go through the levels punching and kicking to get the talent. Oh, it was so good. Okay, let's not get sidetracked.
But yeah, I'm very much excited for that. It's going to be so good.
I literally cannot wait. I mean, next week we're like a week away.
We are.
Next week we'll be doing our final thoughts on it, which is just going to be us like crushing on it for 20 minutes, and then we're going to go see it, and then we're going to be just so happy.
I've seen like 2 or 3 now on my TikTok feed of like people being aggressively, like, you know, when you get so aggressive because something's so cute, there's more stills of the turtle tots and like in different, like, and people like obviously paying attention to the details of how the characters' different faces and stuff are, and it's like, honestly, it's gonna be so good.
The only thing that I don't think is gonna hit right in the nostalgia is I don't think Raph is gonna be as angry as we remember him.
No, but I think I will be
grumpy instead of angry.
I think I'll be okay. It won't bother me because I know they're young again.
Yeah.
And I will just know, we know that that's where Raph will go as he gets older.
Yeah. They're, in my head, they're like 13, 14. In the sequel and in the animated series, when they're like 15, 16, Raph can start being a real grumpy.
When he goes through his teenage angst stage.
Yeah, I can't wait. Right. Union update. SAG-AFTRA.
Yes.
The boys.
Honestly.
ABC, scum, has hired scab writers for one of their shows, General Hospital.
Yes, General Hospital.
Shit show, never heard of it. Scabbing, for anyone who's unaware, is when non-union workers take on the work that the union workers are currently striking from. It's heavily frowned upon. It's a disgusting thing to do. It is inexcusable.
It's actors knowingly taking roles that would potentially have gone to union actors, but because they're striking, they're obviously bypassing
and
them.
writers.
Oh,
In
and
this case,
writers, yeah. And it's willingly taking those roles and going against what the actors and writers are striking for.
Yes, it is dreadful behaviour from all parties involved, and I hope that season of that show costs ABC 100 billion and they go bust.
Well, do you know what I hope? I hope it gets the worst ratings because the writers they've got in aren't any good. And
you know what the problem's going to be though? This season that these people are writing, it goes out after the writer strike is over, and the writers still get blamed for it being shit because people can't understand that stuff takes time.
People will blame the writers because they striked. You made our show rubbish. It's like, what?
Disney, scum.
To no surprise,
have listed half a dozen AI centric roles with salaries starting at $180,000 a year. So while Bob Iger is sat there earning his 27 million and saying we're going to hold out until people start losing their homes, has decided that he's going to spend, at least $1 million a year on AI specialists to try and replace the people who he wants to make homeless anyway. I don't know how anyone can listen to that sentence, which is 100% fucking factual, and tell me that what these union strikes are doing is wrong.
It's just so wild. And it's like so clearly a choice to start advertising these jobs now. Like they're purposefully doing it because the strike's happening.
So Disney's revenue from March 22 to March 23 was 86.9 billion. We'll call 87 billion just to be a bit generous. Cost for the SAG-AFTRA demands. The annual cost for the SAG-AFTRA, DGA, the Directors Guild of America, and WGA contract demands would be between 450 million and 600 million a year, and that's between all of the studios, not just for Disney. Disney can afford.
People need to realize how much of a drop in the water that is to $1 billion.
And Disney don't have to pay all of that. What's Disney's profit? Where can I get their profit for the last year?
And just see what Bob Iger's made.
Net profit margin of 5% is what they're operating on. That's fucking good, yeah? That's like 3 billion, 4 billion. Pay your workers fairly, Bob. I guarantee you, not a CEO in the world does actual any work. Quote me on that. No CEO in the world actually has a job. They just pretend they do.
Do you know what? Minuscule counter to that. A CEO by title only does work up until they get past 10 to 50 employees because they're actually having to do stuff. As soon as it gets into like 50 plus, they start doing less.
A lot of the time when you've got people who are classed as CEO in companies that
they
small, they'll have like a secondary job title as well, and that'll be the job they're actually doing.
It's just wild. And do you know what's more wild? I guarantee in the next 5 years, at least 50% of those people that get those AI jobs will be made redundant because they realize they don't need that many people on that salary doing that shit.
But do you know what makes Disney doing this and refusing to pay people even worse? a handful of indie studios have been
Oh.
allowed to start working again. Not because SAG-AFTRA are like, oh, you're an indie, you need help. Because they just met the demands. They were like, yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
I
lot of-
I think last time I checked, 6 independent studios had striking against them removed because they met the demands of SAG-AFTRA.
they
like,
actually
"Fine,
sat down with them.
Yeah.
And do
I
you know
don't
what?
even think there was really a sit down. They're like, sorry, is there a problem? Oh, okay, yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
a
lot of them were
Continue.
probably just like, oh yeah, they basically will have just gone with the status, sold on the status norm of what all these other studios do for like payments and stuff. Kind of just thought that was the accepted norm. Then the writers have gone, no, we're not happy with this, and they're going, oh shit, okay, yeah, cool, no, we'll fix that.
Yeah,
we just thought you had already agreed to this stuff. No, okay, cool, we'll fix that.
And
Notably,
the most notable studio that's been allowed to work again is A24, which I'll be honest, for an independent studio, even I'm aware of them, and I'm normally pretty bad at knowing studios.
Yeah, they've got a good name for themselves.
Yeah, they're very well known. In fact, if someone told me A24, I wouldn't have assumed they were even an indie studio.
No, I probably wouldn't either.
And they were the studio behind Midsummer, the Florence Pugh horror film, which is phenomenal. Ex Machina, and multiple Oscar winner Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
And they've done more films as well that have all done very, very well. They're probably their 3 most famous films.
Yeah.
These studios can just go, yeah, no worries, that's valid.
Here's the thing.
Zero reason other than greed that these other big studios can't meet these demands.
Indie studio that does not have the same monetary profit as these other big studios,
all the other revenue streams, like Disney with all of its fucking theme parks.
If they can, they're more than okay to agree with it, and it's not going to kill their business. You know the fact that these big studios can do it. They're just purposefully greedy because they're like, oh no, we're going to lose a drop of our profit margins, and it's like, bullshit. Because you know what Disney would do? If Disney agreed to it anyway, all they're going to do is then up the price of Disney Plus, up the price of tickets to Disneyland and stuff.
You think Disney are actually going to feel a penny of that? No, they're going to pass all of that extra cost on to us.
Yeah.
And we're still sat here knowing that's a fact, going, pay the fuckers.
It's just wild, man.
You want some good news, though, Horizontal?
Yes, I do. Always.
Jamie Foxx has posted a video of himself confirming that he is all good. Yeah. He had a health scare. He didn't say what it was, which is completely his prerogative. Not that I think anyone actually cares what happened. They just wanted to know he was okay. But he's confirmed he didn't want to be seen because of this, because of how it had affected him. He didn't want people to see him like that. He only wanted people to see him having fun, being who he is naturally. But he's feeling good now. He's back. He's ready to rock and roll, and we are so happy to see him back.
Yeah, and he said how great his family was for keeping that lockdown, and everyone close to him did a great job. And obviously, as media does, they ran away with certain ideas.
Yeah.
So it's kind of was his way of kind of settling all of that. But yeah, glad to see him back and making videos, and even made some jokes in there. So
it warmed my heart because it was a little bit worrying there for a little while. But he's back. He's good. We are vibing.
Yes.
This is a really, really weird one, bearing in mind the complaints we've had of late.
Yeah.
Variety. I'm not sure how valuable a source we want to treat Variety as, but they do break a lot of news. So, have predicted a best VFX nomination for Blue Beetle at the Oscars.
I mean, I feel like we could have made that prediction off just the trailer.
It's ballsy, though.
I
hope it's true. I hope they've seen more than us laymen, and they're like, "Oh, this shit bussin'."
I wouldn't be surprised though if they have just watched the trailer and gone, "Wow, the VFX look amazing."
I mean, let's be honest. It's not like other superhero films really have a lot of competition coming their way.
No.
Spider-Verse, I don't think is eligible for that category because it's an animated film.
Yeah, I don't think it'll, because technically the whole film's VFX then.
Yeah. Guardians.
It has some, but it's not. I mean, I suppose like Rocket and stuff, but there's not. The unfortunate thing is we've seen it. It's not new.
Yeah. Best VFX tends to go towards the stuff that is very obviously VFX.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to do subtle VFX. Obviously Oppenheimer, while it didn't use any CGI, apparently, did still obviously use visual effects. And for those who still don't get it, all CGI is visual effects. Not all visual effects are CGI. Very simple.
Yes.
It's the fingers. It's fingers and thumbs, people. Fingers and thumbs. But other than that, I'm not sure what else is really going to be mega competitive in that category. The Flash sure as shit shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think. The only other thing that I haven't seen it, but whether the Fast and Furious gets chucked in there because it's Fast and Furious. I don't know if that must have had some VFX, obviously.
Wait, you mean they don't really take cars into space?
I wish they did.
You mean
I wish they sent Vin Diesel in a car into space.
You mean to tell me Vin Diesel did not stomp so hard that he caused an earthquake that collapsed an entire parking garage?
I know it's hard to believe. I know.
But that is it for the nerd news this week. It was a interesting one to say the least.
It was.
Now we get on to the dreaded moment every week these days, the content championship. This week, we've got Bad Batch versus the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. I know in my heart who's won this, but it doesn't make it not feel dirty. But let's get into it.
This is going to be interesting.
As always, the 6 categories are personal relevance, how well has it aged, rewatchability, story, acting, and cinematography. Oh, we really should come up with a better term for cinematography because it's not just cinematography, but visuals just doesn't hit the same cinematography. So I don't want to change it to a less.
Yeah, it just
cool
sounds good.
Yeah, that's all we care about, just fucking how it sounds. Would you like to get us started?
Sure. Personal relevance. So, as a man of old, as an old man, by your words, I do remember watching the 90s Spider-Man cartoon on TV.
When it wasn't reruns.
When it wasn't reruns. I can't say I watched a whole lot of it on TV. Because it was it on Fox? What was it on?
Yeah, it was Fox Kids.
Yeah, I didn't have Fox Kids. So like I've probably seen it at
up in them north slums.
Well, more just played outside, didn't I, in the fields.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I do remember, and it's like it's one of those where it's like it's like a memory of like early nerdy cartoons and stuff. Bad Batch. I mean, it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. It's still fairly new in the grand scheme of things. I do have a love for the clones after the whole Clone Wars animated. So like getting to see more stories about clones is always great. And Star Wars hits fondly for me.
100%.
So it's kind of hard because it's like, one, I didn't really watch much, but I do remember. And the other, I've watched all of it and I do love, but it's still quite new. It's kind of hard to pin one for personal relevance. I'd probably lean more Bad Batch just because I like Star Wars so much.
That's fine.
I don't know. I have a feeling I know how your personal relevance might fall.
Yeah. So Bad Batch, I love Bad Batch, fucking brilliant. And it brought me back to the animated world of Star Wars. in a big way. I hadn't finished Clone Wars when Bad Batch Season 1 came out. But I watched Bad Batch Season 1 and I was like, oh, I forgot how good this stuff is. And that got me back in to go back and finish Clone Wars. So like there's a lot of love for it there for giving me the nudge I need. Because the way I work is I'll start watching something, then I'll get distracted, then I'll leave it, and I might never remember to go back to it.
Yeah.
So if you can redirect me, like if something grabs my attention, then redirects me back to something else that I then love, I have even more love for that thing.
Makes sense.
However, my first vivid memories of superheroes are rewatching the 90s Spider-Man cartoon at like 6-7 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, even to the point of when we saw the Spot was the villain for Across the Spider-Verse, one of the first things I said was, I remember seeing the Spot in the old Spider-Man cartoon. Like, that's how deeply ingrained that show is into my brain. So for me, it's Spider-Man, and it's not particularly close, just because, along with like the live-action X-Men films of the mid-2000s,
yeah,
without them, I don't even give a fuck about the MCU.
I mean, I'm okay allowing Spider-Man to win because it's like have kind of even feel for both. I lean towards Star Wars, but I'm not against Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We'll see.
How well it is aged.
I mean,
Bad Batch hasn't.
It hasn't had time to age.
Yeah, it's just a baby.
It is just a baby, but I know it's how well it has aged. I do predict it will age very well.
It will, for a fact, age very well, purely because it's solving so many plot holes.
Yes. Spider-Man, I don't think has aged badly. It's animated. Like, animated stuff generally doesn't, and...
For a children's cartoon from the 90s, and back when this was coming out, superhero stuff was just for kids. They didn't think about how it would appeal to teenagers or adults. So for it to still not be complete cringe looking back on is pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah, and I would even say that this art style of it doesn't even feel like a dated cartoon. Like, it just feels like, yeah, it's cartoon.
It's standard. It's nothing flashy.
Yeah. And it's not...
You look at it and you go, this was made for children, but you don't find that like, it was just made for kids, I'm skipping it.
Yeah, you don't look at it and go, gosh, some of this was a bit jank. You just go, oh yeah, it's cartoon. Yeah, solid.
It's Spider-Man.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, you can't really give it to the Bad Batch. It hasn't had a chance to age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty simple, that one. Rewatchability.
Yeah. I have already watched the first couple episodes of Bad Batch, because I rewatched them when we were getting ready for season 2 of the Bad Batch. Did. And it was just as much fun. However, I will occasionally, when I'm feeling a little bit sad, rewatch old Spider-Man episodes, because I'm like, yes, childhood memories. Release some of that little bit of dopamine. I'll take it, thanks.
I think purely because I didn't really watch it much as a kid, I'd lean more to Bad Batch. Not
as a general rule, you are always more likely to rewatch a Star Wars thing.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's like
Rebels while we've been doing this podcast and not watched one episode of The Boys.
I haven't rewatched Rebels.
Yeah, you have.
Nah.
Yeah.
When? What?
Right near the beginning of when we started the podcast, you were rewatching Rebels.
Oh, that was right near the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, it was.
God, okay, it was a while ago. My memory has faded.
That's like 18 months ago for a show that's like 6 years old.
No. Oh no, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I do always lean Star Wars, and while Bad Batch might not be the first Star Wars thing that I would watch, I'd happily would rewatch it. So, yeah.
Story.
I
mean, Bad Batch is solid top to bottom.
It's and it's fixing plot holes.
Yeah, it is filling gaps in Star Wars lore, fixing plot holes, and showing us the beginning of the Empire which we've not seen much of.
No, we haven't. It is an era that we've not got to see. As you say, it's fixing plot holes.
Yeah.
It's a solid story.
It's got it's compelling. It's got good characters. What's not to like? Is it groundbreaking? Are you sitting there with your jaw on the floor because the script and the everything is so phenomenal? No, of course you're not. It's Star Wars. Let's temper expectations. But at no point are you going, "Oh, this is a bit dross." It is.
No, it has. It has its moments, like the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Like that really pull, and as all the anime stuff, it has the odd episode that hits the heartstrings and hits some great storytelling.
But I don't think from a Star Wars show, like especially the animated ones, just because you're limited a bit more. I don't think you're ever going to get like a 10 out of 10 episode in the grand scheme of everything. But every single week you're rocking up to somewhere between a 6 and an 8, and I will take that consistency.
Yeah, there's only rare, like the finale of Clone Wars animated maybe was like close to 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But like it's you're right. With animated, you are only getting so far.
Yeah.
Spider-Man,
for the time, I think it's unreal.
Yeah. I mean, they're solid story. Like, it's just
bearing in mind it's being directed towards a child.
Yeah.
And this is what we've got to remember when you look at animation now in the mediums we enjoy versus in the 90s. In the 90s, they didn't view it as any adults are going to watch less.
Yeah.
So they were trying to just tell kiddified stories. Yeah. Whereas now they're like, we need to cater to young adults all the way up to people who've loved this franchise for 20 years. And bearing in mind that, I think Spider-Man does a really good job. I don't think you can criticize it for anything. I don't think the writing is as tight as Star Wars. But I think it is more impressive when you consider what they were aiming for, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's different scopes, right? Bad Batch is slotting into a huge universe and a huge story, and they're fixing plot holes in that bigger story. Spider-Man's just, it's essentially telling comics, the short stints of stories, and it's like, yeah, they're all...
See, I get that, but I do have one counterpoint to the short stories.
Go on.
We did also have, like, the multiverse story they did.
Oh, no, I know there's, like longer running stuff as well.
Destiny and Madam Web, and and it was like a 4-parter, and you had, like, him with his tarantula arms and all the different Spider-Men. Like, that was crazy good.
Oh, yeah, no, there's definitely those bigger stories there. It's kind of just like, they both do a great job at what they meant to be. I obviously, I'm going to lean Star Wars.
Yeah.
Bigger scope.
Acting.
I mean, voice acting's great in both.
Yeah. Star Wars is good. No better or worse than any other Star Wars show, though.
Yeah.
I don't think you can look at Rebels, Clone Wars, or Bad Batch and go, oh, the voice acting in that one is worse. I think they're all pretty even.
Yeah, it's just like which has a specific actor that maybe like the actor that plays Maul and stuff.
Yeah, Sam Witwer.
Yeah, like those performances hit a little harder because you're like, oh yeah. But other than that, yeah,
voice itches a bit of my brain.
But yeah, it's like other than that, it's all great, kind of like a standard great, like it's what you expect from.
Ironically, although this is completely off topic, I've just watched the episode that convinced me to watch Rebels. So I've seen the clip of Obi-Wan fighting Maul for the last time 1,000,001 times with Sam Witwer talking through it and how like Obi-Wan changes from like the Ewan McGregor pose to the Alec Guinness pose to the Qui-Gon Jinn pose. Yep. And like I saw that and I was like, oh, that is peak Star Wars right there. And I finally got up to that episode. And even though like what happens has been spoiled for me for about 6 years, I finally got there and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Star Wars, baby. But yeah, anyway. The acting in Spider-Man, very 90s.
Well, yeah.
It is still completely acceptable, which is crazy surprising to me. And yeah, it feels quite cheesy now, but it doesn't feel as cheesy as I was expecting.
Well, that goes back to how well it's aged, right?
Yeah, I flicked back through like a couple of episodes just to see if I was like really suffering from nostalgia and like rose tinted glasses.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the voice acting is a bit weird because obviously the setups weren't as good back
Well,
then,
yeah, the
and
quality.
like the recording would have been different. It's probably been formatted and compressed and decompressed and all this shit a
And
million and one times
you've
before
also
it
got
got
to
to
remember
Disney
like
Plus.
the TV quality that it was being shown on as well, like the audio quality. Like
Exactly.
they weren't on like 100 quid headphones and stuff. Like, yeah.
Exactly. But it's still like pretty solid. Again, when you consider the fact it was made for kids, so they probably weren't that worried about it being
No,
top tier
an
voice
Oscar
acting.
performance or anything.
Yeah, they were probably going, yeah, one take's fine, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Cinematography. I mean, Star Wars animation, don't miss. It's clean.
Yeah, and like so they use a lot of film shot techniques in their way they do their animated stuff,
To
which I think,
make it feel more alive.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean,
they
with
don't
Bad
just like
Batch,
they don't just draw it in the same way that an animated show would normally be drawn or like rendered. They do fully render it like they've got a proper set shot. Like it's one of the few animated shows I've ever watched where it does feel like there is a director.
yeah, and it's like I think to like season 2, some of those episodes visually were stunning with the different worlds they went to and stuff. Like they always
100%.
Star Wars always plays into that. Like it has great visuals.
Yeah.
I mean, animated Spider-Man, it's
It's
standard animation show.
yeah, it's what every animated show in the 90s looked like. Yeah, it was well done because it was nice and bright. Green Goblin was nice and green. Doc Ock was bright. Spider-Man was bright. It was. I'm a child. I like the big moving colors. 100%. Guess what? I'm still a big child. I still love the big moving colors. I don't think I can, in good conscience, say that it's better animated than Bad Batch. But
well, yeah, Bad Batch
it's
is
not
multiplayer.
poorly
Yeah.
animated.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say no. Yeah.
And I do think it was actually hand drawn back then as well, which
most likely, yeah.
I highly doubt Bad Batch was hand drawn.
Oh no. That's an army of people on computers doing that.
As much as it feels dirty, I'm voting for Spider-Man because I physically can't be voting against it to just Bad Batch. No offense, Bad Batch.
I think this is because we had personal relevance, which was like I'm kind of even aged. Obviously goes Spider-Man. Rewatchability, probably more Bad Batch. So I'm like, what? Half 1-1, probably 2. I feel like I lean Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
You're Spider-Man, I'm Star Wars.
And this is why this podcast is so well balanced, because I keep us up to date on the superhero stuff, and you've got us covered on Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. We're fine.
And all the visual things.
Yes.
I guess we need to put someone forward, though.
I'm not budging.
I was going to say, you're not going to budge.
Not a chance. I love Bad Batch. It's just too new. I think if Bad Batch was like 3 or 4 years older, you might have a chance of making me budge. But the fact that I know there's another season coming, I have in my head reasonable doubt that it could fall off a cliff.
Here's my thought process right now is, like you, Bad Batch is new. But then it's like, I think to realistically, out of like all the Star Wars animated stuff, Bad Batch isn't in my top. It's by far the final seasons of Clone Wars. And it's like, do I really hold Bad Batch that highly on my? Like I said, I wouldn't. It'd be the first thing. It wouldn't be the first thing I go to rewatch and stuff. So it's like, really, I feel in this case, I'm okay with saying Spider-Man can win because it like you say, it's just Bad Batch. It's not prime animated Star Wars or peak stuff. So
if it was Clone Wars, you'd definitely be able to get me to
if it was Clone Wars and if it was potentially Rebels, because
once I finish Rebels, I reckon you'd be able to get me to budge on Rebels. I'm not budging for Bad Batch.
I can understand.
I have
feel that's
limits.
valid. I feel that is valid.
You're not giving me. I mean, I think rightly so, the third best Star Wars animated show, and telling me it's better than peak Spider-Man animated shows.
I think that's the way we need to look at this.
We're not doing that on the podcast.
Although I have a love for Bad Batch and everything Star Wars, like at the end of the day, it is the third best, and it's like, well, okay, there's your answer.
There is a goddamn reason for that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with Star Wars going forward. Not Star Wars, Spider-Man.
Nice try.
Can you imagine if that worked and you're going, yeah, okay, I'm like, haha, got him.
Bamboozle, Nat 20. See, D&D lingo, I'm learning.
Please.
Spider-Man animated series progresses. What do we have next week?
That's a good question.
Oh,
he's not happy.
Yeah, it's one that feels dirty again.
I feel like
Infinity War versus Rogue One. It feels dirty, doesn't it? So tune in next week for that. That's it from us. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe.
That's
and we'll
rough.
catch you in the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.